Well, okay, I think we can more or less begin. Okay, it's 9:04. Right now we are 40 something people. I think that for sure more people are going to join in these first minutes, but it's, I mean, 5 minutes courtesy. I think we can. We can begin. I will try to manage the new incorporations from these two screens. So, well, hi everyone. I'm David Santos from Icertis. It's an Spanish digitalization consultancy, which is actually it's a very active actor of the EBSI-VECTOR project. Okay. One thing I have to say is that this session is being recorded, okay, just for making dissemination of the event afterwards, and no personal detail is going to be revealed. Of course, the video is going to be edited before any kind of dissemination, and that's the reason why it's being recorded, okay. So, well, as I said before, I'm David Santos from Icertis, a Spanish digital consultancy, taking part on EBSI-VECTOR. Okay, so well, just to advance with today's events. Well, for sure, you will know one thing or two about EBSI-VECTOR if you are here in this event. So just some initial words about the project, just as a quick reminder. It's basically, there are two main concepts on the project. EBSI, the European Blockchain Service Infrastructure, and verifiable credentials, okay? At last, this is one European effort, as other projects, as for example, EBSI Next or DC4U, that what they are trying to bring the European and common blockchain infrastructures, okay, into a productive stage when it comes to its application to verifiable credentials, to the exchange of critical information between individuals, between organizations in the field of verifiable credentials in a trustworthy, I would say, in a trustworthy and secure way. Okay, so today, why are we here today? Well, these are basically the event's goals for today. Okay, we are here for celebrating a milestone. We are here for celebrating because the project has been on the run for the last 2 years, and we are closing the project. In fact, we are closing the project in this same month of May. Okay, so we are celebrating, but we are not only celebrating, because what we want to take the opportunity to share, basically to share with you what we have done, the results, and the potential for the future. Okay, so for us, it's a way that you in what you can experience EBSI. It's a way in that we can do a showcase of the actual use cases that have been involved in the development of the project. Okay, use cases in education, social security, business registries, and in fact some crossover case in the middle, in this case between education and social security. Okay, so I would say that at the same time it's a way for us, this kind of event, or this event is a way of trying to shape the future. I mean, the people that are right now in this event, that are participating in this event, I mean, all of you have interest on verifiable credentials, on blockchain infrastructures, on the relations between all of them. So for us, we think this is a way to try to bring out all the current context, present, past, future of these topics, and try to be able to depict a very next future on which Europe is able to provide not only a blockchain infrastructure, but an ecosystem, a complete ecosystem for providing services and products in the fields of verifiable credentials, okay, of exchange of critical information between individuals and organizations in a free, secure, and trustworthy way. Okay, so talking about the agenda, it's quite simple because there are two main sections. The first section, from infrastructure to impact, EBSI enabling verifiable credentials in key sectors, which is like, I would say that it's a session about the current context, what I have said just some seconds ago, present, past, and future, okay? If I stop suddenly, it's because I'm accepting new people, okay? And section 2, which I would say it's, I'm going to call it the main dish of today's menu, okay? Because it's the showcase of the different use cases that have been involved in EBSI-VECTOR, okay? And then we will go to some conclusions. So I would say more than conclusions, maybe some important facts about EBSI-VECTOR to take into account, especially for future actions, okay? So before I proceed, just some quick hints, okay, about participation. Time is quite restricted in this event. I mean, we have a lot to talk about, and there is not too much time. And so for that, after each session, okay, after each session, we will open questions and answer turns. But they will work the next way. Basically, we are proposing you to use the chat, to raise your questions, okay? So I, as the dynamizer of the session, can take note of them. And at the end of each session, I put the questions on a screen, and the speakers can take a good look at it and can provide some answers. Okay, short and focused questions are appreciated. Okay, and due to time constraints, it's quite possible that we are not able to answer all questions, but it's our compromise that the questions that are not answered during the sessions can be answered afterwards by mail or even by the chat of the event. Okay, so we will look to how to respond in a way or another. Okay, so and more things about interaction. We are going to, well, this was going to be polls, okay, using the Teams functionality, but finally it's going to be a Microsoft Forms, okay? Very quick questions. This is going to be this way because we discovered 2 days ago that polls doesn't work very well with external or guest people in Microsoft Teams. So we have to switch from Microsoft Polls, I mean, from something that you have, the questions that you can have on directly on your screen to an external link. So in this case, we will be providing you from time to time, and the first one is going to be just in a few seconds, very quick questions. Okay, the first one is going to be like an icebreaker, and I'm going to show you right now, and the next ones are going to be raised just after each use case, in order to gather your potential interests in knowing more or being involved in further actions comprising that specific use case. Okay, so as the best example of this quick interaction with us is just this. I'm pasting now on the chat a very quick questionnaire, okay, on the perception of current maturity of blockchain and verifiable credentials, okay? If you scan this QR code or you click on the link that I have just posted on the chat, okay, you will access one single question, multiple choice question, one single question, completely private. You don't have to log in order to respond to it. So please feel free in any moment to respond to it. Okay, it's not mandatory, of course, but for us, we will be really quite glad because these kind of projects live in some way from the interaction with the persons with interest in the subject matters or with potential stakeholders on these subject matters. Okay, so I hope you had time to scan the QR or to click on the chat. The link on the chat is going to be there. Nobody's going to delete it. Okay, so you can make it anytime. So well, we can go now into the actual sessions. Okay, so we begin with the first section, which is titled From Infrastructure to Impact, EBSI enabling verifiable credentials in key sectors. For this, we are going to have with us in this session speaking Ebrim Tan and Daniel Dusuil. Ebrim is working at the currently working at the University of Munster. He's an active researcher in the use of emerging technologies such as blockchain and IA in public governance. And Daniel Dusuil is the research coordinator at Cyber Lab at Howes University and a key practitioner in blockchain adoption in Europe. I mean, both of them are quite recognized people for the recent contributions in advanced, I would say, decentralized identity and verifiable credentials adoption across Europe. So thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much. Please, the place is yours. As I said, you have just shared your screen, so please continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, David. I hope you hear me well.
Yep.
So good morning, everybody, and happy that you joined the session and happy that we can share our thoughts. So I will tell together with my colleague Evrim a little history, a little context, so you can hopefully better understand all the use cases which are, like David mentioned, the main dish of this introduction. Let me start with a moment that maybe for some of you were a couple of years ago. Some younger people, maybe more in the recent future, is one important step in a person's life is, of course, your graduation. After 4, 3, or 5 years, or even more years of hard study work, you receive finally your diploma, your access to the work environment. That's a lot of hard work, and then you receive that official paper with the stamp, with all the credentials, and as mentioned, is the gateway to your work. But of course, why bother? Why bother to do all that hard work, 3, 4 years of hard studying, if you can buy it with 1 or 2 clicks online? So all those heavily worked on credentials, diplomas, and all those kind of things, you can see some of them comes, buy a fake diploma in the US from the Canadian university, well known. They are forbidden, and you can, as a human being, it's very difficult or as checking to see, okay, what is the difference between that hard work diploma and that one that you have bought. We see a lot of fake diplomas, a lot of fake credentials running around in the digital area. A lot of countries have tried to, of course, fight that kind of thing and also to digitize things. In Flanders, we have seen the early initiatives. You have also seen it in Europe, but also in other countries, try to see how to build systems there where we can check what is the diploma, is it true, or is it not a false, fake one, so that we can give capabilities. All those solutions were built into a national context or even a regional context. But once you go outside in the international, those things can't work. You have no access as a foreigner into the Flanders, Belgium diploma systems, so it's limited. And you are stuck, of course, in your student administration, or of course, we are also focused social security kind of thing, that you have a lot of work checking documents. Are they authentic? Are they not tampered? Are they not faked? Is this a real person? So a lot of overhead goes into those kind of checking. It is also mainly paper, and you need to see that students are, of course, expecting fully digitized solution. They are not expecting, once I travel to a foreign university, to give a lot of paper. They are expecting it needs to go in a digital fluent way, so I can access all the things I need, and my onboarding is just a few clicks and I'm there. They are not expecting an onboarding of 3 to 4 or even 6 months before everything is okay and all the costs that are included. The current technical systems that we face are limited. We have seen universities, we have seen organizations try to link things together in a digital form. But in those kind of solutions that we have seen and experienced as not very much scalable, every service provider, identity provider needs to have bilateral agreement, bilateral kind of things. But of course, this doesn't scale with multiple organizations that need to check it, so you are not in contact. And of course, at a certain moment, you also don't want that certain people have the access. Adding to that, you have, of course, always the risk that somebody is looking also with you. The signing with Google and signing with Facebook, very handy. But of course, Google, Facebook knows everything, every digital transaction that you are doing. So the system that we saw, and this is a bit also a conclusion or an indication from a few years ago, we need something new. We need something that is scalable, that's breaking all those kind of old-fashioned way, all the paper ways, all the ways that are not scalable. And those ways are a bit in a combination. We have seen in the last years the rise of something that is called the verified credentials. Some of you were, of course, more aware and are active. But verified credentials is a way to establish a digital credential so that it can be exchanged and that content can be checked and verified. We have seen also the evolution of user wallets, where those credentials can be stored, where the user can store those credentials and interact with different organizations. And we have seen also the evolution of registries, decentralized registries, that can ensure that trust of that verified credentials. That is where the EBSI infrastructure comes into. So those components that were already in evolution and in creation come to a point where they can provide a new way to interact with those credentials. Now, of course, you don't only need technology, you need also digital semantic agreements, and also on the content agreements, what are we sharing? And then that's for your field. In the educational field, the European learning model is also important. What is a diploma? What is an extension, a student ID? How do we agree that we also need this kind of thing? So we've seen that all those things have been growing, have been evolving, and combining them makes another scalable model possible. In the model that we foresee, and we have, of course, elaborated within the EBSI-VECTOR project and also related project, you put the holder into the center of everything. The holder with his wallet can interact with the issuers, the diploma that he has earned in his university. That university issues that diploma into an education and a digital credentials that he can store in a wallet, and then he can present it towards a verifier, another university or an employer or whatever is needed. That is not defined hard. That is up to the user to interact with them. And that verifier can check that content of that credential and can also verify it into a decentralized ledger without going into interaction with the issuer. And there's also privacy enabled. So the model is very simple. Put the holder into the position. He is the orchestrator of everything. So it also makes sure that we don't have too complex integrations and that we can use the flexibility of the holder to do this kind of thing. A bit more in detail is about the terms that you will be also looking at into the demos that comes in the moment. But the holder will receive verified credentials. He will present those kind of things. And of course, all the things are being checked in that aspect. Now, this concept, of course, are already a bit in place. 5 to more years ago, it was introduced. But of course, it needed to be tested. Does this, in theory, looks nice, but does it work? And that was also the place and the position of the EBSI early adopter program, where the EBSI program already looked at, okay, how can we test those kind of things? A lot of universities also present today, and organizations, also as a security, also tested, can this work? And a lot of combination cross-border were made, where a Belgian student travels to Italy, has credentials, but wants to work in Spain. Does that work? And the answer was yes. Now, of course, it's not only about testing downscaling, you need also tooling. So EBSI also invested a lot into wallet conformance testing. Which kind of product can be conformant with the solution that we are? So that's also an initiative that's been working and helping on those kind of things. Now, those things were working, but it's also you need to relate this to a bigger initiative to see, okay, how can Europe, and I a bit zoom out, a lot of zooming out, look at, okay, how is Europe want to position itself into the digital space? as you already know, Europe wants to be in a digital sovereign way. So we need new technologies, we need new concepts, and you see this in a bit in that digital decade program, where cutting edge technologies, where blockchain, those credentials, those wallets, are a base into rulings, and the rulings also create media freedom, data governance, to serve higher values. So the evolution that we are seeing and describing today and have been into the exploration phase were also looked in this kind of perception. Now, of course, all those things are promising, are interesting, but of course you need to have a lift up. You don't need to stay as an interesting academic project. You need to evolve into something that can be working in production. And when you go from pilot towards production, a lot of challenges come into your road. And that is also where the EBSI-VECTOR, what we are discussing today, we're very heavily focusing on. I'm not going to going into detail for every potential questions, but once go from pilot to production, you need to look at answers. Okay, how can you mobilize stakeholders effectively? How can you ensure sustainability? How you ensure interoperability? How can we have a link between the needs and priorities of the individual contracts? What are the things that we can optimize to comply with regulatory standards? How can we link this to other initiatives that are there, like the UDI and those kind of things? All those questions need to be answered in a certain way, of course. I not maybe not in detail, but we need to provide at least an indication of an answer to have an uptake of all those kind of things before this can go into production. And that was exactly the focus of the EBSI-VECTOR project, where we are now celebrating, as David has mentioned, our last months and the final event and the conclusions and the last deliverables. We wanted to improve all the capabilities for social security, education, credential use cases, and to extending that paradigm of self-sovereign identity. Because what I've shown about the wallet and the user is, of course, called the self-sovereign identity, supported by decentralized verified credentials and trusted registry for each use cases. We rely on the European blockchain service infrastructure as an independent and privacy preserving source to implement this in different countries and in cross-border interaction. Of course, also as an inspiration, that's also important, and a road builder towards the EUDI wallet that's currently into production. As in the definition mentioned, we are focusing on 3 use cases, and you will be receiving a lot of more information today on those 3 use cases. Education was the first use case that we tested and was also invested a lot and has also a high maturity aspect. The other use case was social security, where also the exploration were very well advanced, but not at that level education. So they need still some work. All those challenges that I have described need to be challenged also in each use case. And one extra use case, which we also will demonstrate and highlight, which is also very promising, is about the business registry. What about the organizational identity? What about companies that interact with other companies or interact with other use cases? So you will see in the presentation of today all the statuses of those 3 use cases and what we have elaborated and what we have also worked on to put things into production. The EBSI-VECTOR project is a big consortium project with 54 more organizations from 20 European countries. So a lot of research organizations, but also public bodies, large private entities, SMEs, and also non-governmental organizations, covering most areas of the European Union that you see in those maps. So we have established this big consortium because we also wanted to have a lot of uptake, and we wanted to include in the project a lot of actors included in this project. But of course, we are not alone, luckily. So the EBSI-VECTOR project interacts with also a lot of other projects. Into the EBSI sphere, there are also TRACE that are EBSI Trace for EU that work on traceability. You have people working on the infrastructure, on the EBSI-E. We have, of course, the teams of the Commission, all the teams of the use cases, so the people working in the business domains on education security, interacting those kind of things. But we also interact a lot with the EUDI large-scale pilots that are working in a similar kind of thing. Yeah? They are, of course, related with the UDI wallet and all the upcoming AI DAS regulation. Yeah? So it's a big ecosystem. We are doing our share of the work, but of course relying heavily and actively with other kind of projects. Yeah? Now, to extend it a bit, we also related with a lot of other projects and other kind of thing. Yeah? The EBSI infrastructure will be an infrastructure that will be need to be sustainable. Yeah? And therefore, there's also the EDIC European, the European Digital Infrastructure Consortium, that will look, okay, how can the policy, the public sector endorse that kind of thing, inject the public trust in that kind of thing. So now currently 11 countries have formed that European Digital Infrastructure Consortium to ensure that kind of long-term commitment and long-term building block. Yeah? Of course, we also need to look at the regulatory aspects. So EBSI-VECTOR, another project, but also related, okay, how this, if we introduce that new technology, what is the impact on the regulatory aspect? Yeah? So that's important. And the most important aspect is, of course, the European will look at the government and the public sector credibility and support, but you need to have a stable network where you can deploy all those kind of things. So the node operators spread over Europe are also trying to look at, okay, how can we build an infrastructure that is supporting the things that go into production, that you have also SLAs, that you have also support, all kind of things. So they also worked in the past years into the EBSI-E project, but also extending those kind of things into building something sustainable. Now, of course, I already mentioned a lot of times the UDI, so the EBSI initiative and the EBSI-VECTOR were looking at decentralized energy and already inspired that new initiative for into Europe, where the EU digital identity will be offering to each citizen a wallet where he can store a lot of credentials. That is, of course, similar. And one of the projects that is now currently working on those kind of things, testing the first version of that, is the DC4EU project, which are looking to those kind of things, the kind of similar things that we are doing, but in the UDI context. Now, if you look at the current timing, so I'm with rushing on those kind of things, the current timing, you see figures on 26, 27, I see, maybe already extending it into this a big project. So they are currently in construction and still into research and implementation. But we want to offer, and that's with this image that I want to give, this project is something that we want to see into an evolution. You have your systems currently today with all the kind of hiccups that you already mentioned about the paperwork, the heavy overhead. We offer today a solution that is already working, already been tested, so you can use it at ease, so that you will be ready also tomorrow to implement something in the similar, say, kind of thing with the UDI. So the message that I want to stress out, that all those initiatives are aligned, and that you are today in the possibility to already use those concepts, that in a later phase will be evolving to an EUDI context. So it's not an initiative that's in competition. We see this as a natural evolution. The organization that will need to interact with this system needs to have, of course, stability. All the things that we are working on need to have stability and need to have also a scenario there where you have not too big breaking changes and that you continue. But of course, you need to work today and you need to solve, what is our point of view, solve those kind of things today already. So as a recap, what are we doing in the EBSI-VECTOR project? Of what have we done? And you will be highlighting and showcasing those things in the demos. We have built a foundation. We have looked at, okay, what are the capabilities, what are all of the things that are needed on technical specification and on other aspects, so that you can build other kind of solution providers, but of organization can build on. Yeah? So the stability is there, the foundation is there, and also to build something that also related with also many initiatives. Yeah? What the EBSI-VECTOR project also did is try to see and to invest. We have the first specification, the semantic models that we use, the different specification of credentials. But of course, you need to be specified. They need to be in detail so that the university in Poland is interacting with the one in Cyprus and understanding each other. Yeah? So that's important to have a good uptake into the market. If not, the cross-border interaction will be very difficult. Yeah? We worked also a lot, very hard work into interoperability. Yeah? Because one thing is defining specification. The other thing is, of course, to make it sure that they really work, yeah? That we don't have interpretation of certain specification. So all the wallet providers, and we have around 15 wallet providers in this project, worked. Can a student that chooses my wallet still interact with an organization that chooses another wallet? So that you don't have a closed system, but have an open system where you can have interoperability. So that is one of the most topics, and I think you'll be also highlighting this in the demo. You'll be seeing different solutions with different organizations. So don't you have an agreement? I, as an organization, implement this, and I can make sure it works in different products, and I don't need to be caring what my student, what my citizen chooses as his end solution, or what the verifier at the other side chooses. So that's very, very important. Yeah? And that comes, of course, also into tooling. This project was looking to have extra support all the wallet provides to implement all those kind of things, yeah, but also build what we have defined as an open source representation of the enterprise wallet. So to have more uptake to the, if you want to experiment it, you want to test certain things, we have built those kind of tools. But of course, we make sure that there are also a lot of commercial interest in this kind of thing. If you have the power to use an open source kind of thing, a lot of technical power, you're okay. But if you rely on systems that can easily integrate it with your backend system, the tools needs to be there. Yeah? In conclusion, I think with all the results, and I hope the use cases and the demos will be showcasing all those kind of things today, we are ready to start. Yeah? The exploration phase, the experimentation phase is over. Yeah? This project have been doing into near production pilots. So today we are now ready to say, okay, use it in production and use it also in a way that is also future proofed, because a lot of important evolutions will come into the next year that you also need to be prepared. So you don't want to start into something that is on the wrong turn. No, you can start at ease to work on the things that we have collaborated, and also make the smooth transition towards the UDI once that is ready, once that the students come knocking at your door with their EUDI wallet. But we don't need to wait, so we can already start today. I think, again, the examples will highlight those kind of things. So it is also today the final event, mainly a call to action. Use the things that we have developed, use the system, and make your life more easy. Don't go into overhead of paperwork. There are today other solutions. So that is for a general introduction. But of course, as David mentioned, this is just the appetizer. I hope this is an appetizer, and we'll be having the main dish, which is the use case. So unless Ephraim also want to add something, of course, prepare this presentation together with him. I would like to give the floor back to you, David, and stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. I think it has been quite an interesting section, because at last, what you can see here is that, I mean, EBSI-VECTOR is not a single effort. Okay, there is, I would say, well, no, actually, there is a roadmap. Okay, on how these advances at least are pretended to reach the market, to reach the public. not in the next years, but almost now, okay, before the end of this decade. So thank you very much, Daniel, and thank you, Erin, as well for preparing this presentation with Daniel. Uh, I have seen no questions on the chat, okay. As you remember, we propose you to raise your questions on the chat during the sessions due to time constraints, but no questions have been raised. We're all more or less on time. I don't know if at least one person or someone would like to ask something in this moment, because if not, yeah, we can proceed to the use cases. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to proceed with the use cases, okay? Because it's at the same time it's a way of maintaining us on the schedule, okay? So, well, I had prepared this slide for the questions, okay? But in this moment, nothing to share. But I mean, this is context. We hope that in this section, okay, the main dish of the menu, okay, for sure, more questions can arise regarding this, because yeah, we are going into the use cases, okay. As we said before, we are basically well, as you know, EBSI-VECTOR is focusing on 3 use cases: on education, social security, and business registries, okay. But we could say that during the project we decided to test some additional things, I would say, and here today we are presenting you some interoperability case that we made out of from the education and social security case. Okay, so at last it is going to be 4 use cases, the ones that we are going to share with you. So with no more dilation, okay, I'm going to give the place to. It is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, three speakers. Okay, we're going to count with Antonio González from Icertis, Samuel Gomez from Gattaca, and Maria Oreshnikova from Simea Diplomi. Okay. In the case of Antonio and Samuel, they have an extensive experience in blockchain and digital wallets solutions. And in the specific case of Maria, at the same time, she is especially involved in the provision, in the creation and provision of these solutions on an education environment. Okay, so I leave in the place for them. I don't know if it's maybe Antonio who is beginning,
Yes.
but yeah.
I will share my screen and Samuel
Exactly.
will do the introduction.
I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So for the rest of one thing I just forgot to comment. For all the speakers, if you are going to share your screens and are you going to share in one moment or another a video with audio, remember please, when you share your screen, to check the check, okay, that you have to use to share the audio as well. Okay, it's important. It's very easy to solve, but it's important. Okay, so sorry. Thank you very much, Antonio. You can proceed.
Samuel?
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah. We hear you and we see your screen. Yes.
Okay. I will start giving the introduction about the educational use case. Can you hear me, David?
Yes, Samuel. Loud and clear.
Perfect. Perfect. So I will give you, well, my name is Samuel Gomez from Gattaca. I will give you an overview of the educational use case that we perform in the work package, in the educational work package. We will talk about the phases that we perform until the point that we are today, and I will introduce the tasks that we made to progress into the project. Also, Antonio will talk about some use cases, and Maria will talk about conclusions of the project. Next slide, please, Antonio. Yeah. The project was structured around 3 core phases that followed a clear progression, from strategic planning to real-world implementation. In the first phase, we focused on engaging educational institutions across Europe. Our goal was to identify those aligned with the vision of digital identity in education and interested in exploring real-world applications. In the second phase, once the institutions were confirmed, we transitioned it into co-design and implementation. We work hand in hand with each organization to translate the business blueprint into concrete user journeys and technical deployments. And finally, the third phase brought this solution to life in real education environments. We use production-grade technologies, integrated them with institutional systems, and validated the entire progress with actual users, students, educators, and administrators. The structured approach ensured that the solutions were not only technically robust, but also tailored in real operations needs to institutions involved. Please, Antonio, next slide. About the business blueprint. The business blueprint serves as a structured guide for credential issuer and verifier, helping them to organize their systems, defining key workflows, and ensure legal and regulatory compliance. It laid the foundation for interoperability, trust, and scalability with the broader European digital identity ecosystems. The engagement, please go to the next slide. The engagement was following the blueprint definition. The next phase focused on engaging the right educational institutions. We selected organizations that were aligned with the project goals and committed to exploring digital identity in practice. Together, we co-designed relevant use cases, captured both technical and functional requirements, and set up test environment to begin implementation. This phase was deeply collaborative, with continuous feedback loops to ensure each step was aligned with institutional priorities and the broader interoperability framework. And the next slide, Antonio, please. And the final phase was all about bringing the solution into action within real educational settings. Selected institutions implemented the digital identity use cases using production-ready technology, as the vendor was providing, stacks and live infrastructure. This involved integrating with the internal system, such as academic records and student services, and executing the user journeys he had designed, including credential issuance and digital onboarding. Through this process, we monitor performance, resolve operational issues, and collected feedback directly from users. The real-world insights are now guiding our future iteration and helping scale the solution with confidence. Now, Antonio will show you some of the results of the project. Antonio, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Samuel. Good morning, everyone. My name is Antonio from Icertis, and now we're going to see some demos of a couple of use cases that we have done in the social security out of the 30 different education institutions that have participated. Okay, so we will start with the use case from the KU Leuven University. This user journey focuses on the issuance and verification of a digital educational ID. And in this user journey, KU Leuven issues a verifiable credential containing the student's educational ID. This credential is received directly in the student's holder wallet provided by Gattaca. Later, when the student wants to access services from another institution, such as for example, Univo, they can present this verifiable credential. Univo then verifies the credential and, if valid, grant access to the student. This showcases how the educational IDs can be securely issued and verified across European institutions using EBSI. And now we will see a video showcasing this pilot in action.
KU Leuven University in Belgium has integrated EBSI verifiable credentials in the KU Leuven self-service portal, an SAP-based system. A student can access it via the KU Leuven credential portal. Login is possible via the KU Leuven Authenticator, a multi-factor app, or via EIDAS. In Belgium, you can log in either using the electronic ID card or via the It's Me app on your mobile phone. The It's Me app has received official recognition from Europe as a reliable identification method meeting the highest security standards set by EIDAS. The user has to open the It's Me app on his mobile phone, share information, authenticate, and then access to the credential portal is offered. The credential portal offers 4 functionalities. The first 2 functionalities are about the issuance of PDF certificates and the upload of external PDF certificates to the student or application file. These functionalities are offered by many universities, but certificates in PDF format often require manual steps to verify the authenticity, which takes a lot of time and resources. Therefore, KU Leuven offers 2 new state-of-the-art functionalities based on verifiable credentials, empowered by the European Blockchain Service Infrastructure. The first is based on the issuance of verifiable credentials, and the second functionality allows users to share verifiable credentials with the university. For example, an exchange student can share their verifiable transcript of records obtained on Erasmus. When the student selects to request a verifiable credential, certificates regarding his own registration, and then selects a verifiable education ID, the system will interact with the Gattaca Enterprise Wallet and create a QR code, or, if performed on a mobile phone, a deep link to open the Gattaca wallet. The student scans the QR code and is asked to share his KU Leuven email credential. The system checks the KU Leuven email credential, looks up the information about the student, and the certificate or the verifiable credential is created and digitally signed for authenticity and pushed to the student's wallet. Now the student can use this verifiable education ID, for example, on the exchange program to Unibo, the University of Bologna in Italy, where access is granted based on verifiable education ID in the student's wallet. The student has several functionalities, but if he selects, for example, student mobility, thanks to a newly developed extension to identify students based on verifiable education ID in the user's wallet, a user can then scan the QR code, is asked to share his education ID Leuven, and is granted access to the exchange portal. As a welcome, information from the education ID is pre-filled in the form. The user can later complete the form, but is access granted and now has the possibility of some functionalities. For example, if he goes to the Europa MOOCs card, the student is able to follow courses developed by Unibo for Una Europa students. At the end of his stay, when all the courses have been completed, the student has the possibility to obtain a verifiable transcript of record for the courses he has attended at Unibo.
Okay, so Let me 1 second. So now we will continue with the second use case. In this case, it's focused on the University of Maribor, and it's based on the issuance of educational coupons as performance incentives for its students. Okay. In this user journey, based on their performance in class, the University of Maribor will issue selected students verifiable credentials coupons, and these coupons the student can receive in his holder wallet called Masca. This holder wallet is a web wallet based on MetaMask, and the student can then present the coupon to an educational platform and redeem it to access a course or examination of their choosing. This demonstrates how verifiable credentials can go beyond the scope of identity and be used as valuable, redeemable educational incentives within the EBSI ecosystem. Now we will see several videos showcasing this user journey. Okay, give me 1 second while I load the video. Okay, so in this first video, we are going to see the issuance of the coupon credential by the administrator of the university. Once the administrator has logged into the portal with his credentials, he selects the coupon verifiable credentials and fills in the student details. Then the student will receive this credential in his email. Okay. So now we will see in the second video how the student claims the verifiable credential. For this, like I mentioned, he will use a web browser-based holder wallet based on MetaMask, developed inside the University of Maribor. The student first will sign into his holder wallet in his browser, and because he has to scan a QR code that is sent via email, he will create a connection with his mobile phone to be able to scan the QR code. Okay? So once this connection has been established, the student can then scan the QR code of the email he was sent. As we can see in the video, the first, it was occurred a little error, but the second time this will work when he scans the QR code. He is also asked to enter a PIN. This PIN is then what authenticates the user in this flow, and the user now can obtain the credential and save it into his holder wallet. Now, if we see the credentials of the student, we can see that he has the coupon credential, and he has been able to claim this credential. And for the last video, we will see how the student would redeem this coupon to access the course and examination. For this, once more, he will need to scan the QR code with his holder wallet, and like before, he will need to establish the connection between his browser-based holder wallet and mobile phone so that he is able to scan the QR code. Once the connection has been established, he will scan the QR code and will send the coupon verifiable credential for verification. If the coupon verification has been successful, he will then have access to the course and examination of his choosing. In this case, this is a mock-up, but this will be the point where the student would have been able to do the course. Okay, so now let me share back the presentation, and I will give the floor to my colleague Maria for the conclusions. Maria, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. All right, so we covered a lot, and we try to show you our work performed in Work Package 4. So you saw that we've made extensive work towards EBSI production, and during our work in EBSI-VECTOR, we wanted to understand and wanted to give some recommendations how to roll out and uptake EBSI after EBSI-VECTOR project is over. So as a part of Work Package 4, we ran a survey which were involved 18 countries and the participant from 29 different organizations. So while the answers were diverse, but we saw few common themes stood out. So we have to say that, first of all, everyone see the potential of EBSI. So we are talking now about Erasmus credentials, learning passports. We are talking about faster diploma verification, but without a robust structure, things stay small and move really slowly. So what we have to do is to be at this point honest. Now we saw that not all countries have officially recognized credentials, digital credentials by law. So it's true that we have in place ADAS 2 being implemented now, but with the broad adoption as of today not happening, the things stay really in the basic stage. So what we need is a legal status, recognize digital credentials. So we also heard very clear from universities that they need funding, the support supporting staff training, and someone actually can coordinate the national rollout. Right now, things are really fragmented. We also have to admit that we have to think about interoperability not as a nice to have thing, but we have to make sure that interoperability stay in basic of all development. Next slide, please. So what we actually, what we need, before, the slide before, what we need now. So to move forward, the survey showed that we have to get the legal frameworks in place. If we don't do this, everything stalls. So we have to support real adopters with funding and developing shared tools. So not everyone has to start from the scratch. It will really help universities to move forward faster. It is also essential for ministries to take a lead. With the support of ministries and approvals, university will more willingly join the infrastructure. And we also have to make sure that systems talk to each other. We want to acknowledge that the awareness at this point is really low, but we do not talk about awareness of EBSI as a tool. Actually, the user should not really know about EBSI, what it is, how it is working, but we need to focus that people actually need. We need to learn, we need to teach them what is a verifiable credential, how they can safely store them, share them, and what actually they can bring in their real life, and how they can help day-to-day job, and how they can help day-to-day task to do. So what we see, next slide, please, Antonio. So what we see the success looks like. It is student graduate with credential that will work anywhere in the European Union. That is, employees verify skills instantly across the borders, and institution issue and manage credential with trust and confidence. So we have the chance to make it happen, and we just need to work harder towards it.
Okay, so now we are on the question and answer. So David, you have the floor.
Yeah, I was. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much, Samuel. Thank you very much, Antonio. Thank you very much, Maria. I think not only you have depicted quite well what has been done on the education side from technical points of view, okay? Because you have shown that from a technical point of view, I mean, in this case, we have made this through videos because in an event as this, is quite difficult from some certain points of view to do it on real time. Okay, but from a technical point of view, I mean, this project has served to create some building blocks. Okay, there has been real and actual technical development in order to make possible the things that you have just seen. Okay, interoperability is a must, of course, because we live in Europe. It's the land of the free, not as the American. Not as the American way, but it's a land of the free from the point of view of contracting services and products, and interoperability is a must. Okay, is a must. So, I mean, we have to be able to build an environment where no matter the tool, no matter the whatever you want to call it, no matter that all the systems, all the tools can understand between each other, and all of we can use blockchain and verifiable credentials without hesitation, because I mean interoperability is there and we don't have to worry about that. Connecting with last part, with Maria's presentation on conclusions, or maybe some kind of look into the next future. As you can see, maybe there's still, I will call this how to say this in English? Evangelization to do, maybe, yeah. No, because I mean, as you can see, I mean, technically speaking, it can be done. It has been done on, I would say, a pre-productive scale here on EBSI-VECTOR. Okay, this is not piloting. This is pre-production. Actual stakeholders, actual people in this case, on the education use case scenario, are real people, real organizations. Okay, so this can work on that environment. So this is pre-production. Okay, so what we have to do is really to give to in a way or another, all together, to give the step to the full production, which means basically an open environment with of service and product provider in the fields of blockchain and verifiable credentials. Okay. And I'm telling you this because, well, no questions were raised, okay? No questions were raised. I want to raise one question to you, okay? I'm going to share my screen right now. Well, at least I'm going to try, okay? Because this is one of the points that we make a question to you. Basically, if you are interested on being in the future connected with this kind of implementations. Okay, you have the QR there, and now, if I can, I'm posting the link to the question on the chat. Okay, so let me check the time. We are for the moment. Cross my fingers. We are for the moment quite good on time. Okay, so, well, really, if someone wants to raise some question now, I think we can have 2 or 3 minutes in order to try to provide answers. Okay. No hands are raised. No people talking on the microphones. Okay, so I think we can continue. Okay, so please, if you can, click on the last link on the chat. It's a very simple question, basically asking for your interests. Okay, in this specific field of use case. Okay, in education side, in this case of verifiable credentials, all the potential applications of verifiable credentials in the field of education, I would say. So, well, we are quite good on time. So if no questions are raised, I'm afraid that we can continue. Okay. So I don't know. Oh, sorry. I think what I'm sharing is not the full screen PowerPoint, but the PowerPoint. Well, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to give the space for all the people. In this case, in the social security case. Okay. So for this, well, this is the case, as I said before, for social security. Okay. we go from education to social security. So in this case, I think that this case is going to be presented at least at first by Federico Frezzolini from Ernst & Young. This organization has been quite an active actor on the development on this use case in the context of EBSI-VECTOR. So for sure, Federico will be able to introduce us in this use case. So Federico, if you are there, please,
Yes.
the floor is yours. I will stop sharing my screen so you can show yours. Remember, just please, when sharing your screen, if you are planning to put on screen a video with audio, just click on the required check. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, David, for the introduction. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, no problem. Loud and clear.
Perfect. And can you see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Federico, and together with my colleagues Elia, Camilla, and Susanna, we are today representing INAIL, the Italian National Institute for Insurance Against Accident at Work. So having been personally dedicated to this project for the past 2 years, it is a privilege to present our progress and report on the outcome of our work. So our primary responsibility as INAIL was leading the work package 5 of the EBSI-VECTOR project, which focused on the social security domain. This task required us to integrate processes across member states, each with its own distinct legal and administrative frameworks. The challenge of navigating these different perspectives was significant, but it also drove an intensive collaboration that led directly to concrete results. We successfully met our key performance indicators for 4 different social security use cases involving Italy, Poland, Austria, and Germany. These results were anchored in the successful piloting of 2 of Europeans' most essential credentials. We demonstrated the digital exchange of the portable document A1, which is vital for detached workers, and the European health insurance card, which secured healthcare access for citizens abroad. The success of these pilots represents a tangible step forward for citizen mobility and security. And achieving this.
Sorry to interrupt you, Federico. Yeah. We are still seeing the first slide of your presentation. That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No worry. Thanks. So as I said, achieving this required a carefully planned implementation. So on a technical level, we had to ensure interoperability between wallet providers. At the same time, we focused on the user. Through a close synergy with Work Package 4, we designed a cross-sectoral user journey, ensuring our solutions were not just technical functional, but also practical from a citizen point of view. Later today, my colleague Camilla and Antonio will present more of the specific cross-sectoral work. So ultimately, these combined successes establish as a foundation for what comes next. They provide a functional blueprint for deeper collaboration between public and private institutions. This work moves us closer to the goal of building a stable and self-sufficient European digital ecosystem, an objective we continue to pursue in coordination with the EBSI team and the European Commission. Okay, so now to show you the practical output of his work, we will proceed with 3 demonstrations. So for this, I will hand over to my colleague Elia. Elia will now present the 3 flows we developed. It will begin with 2 distinct demonstrations for the portable document A1 credential, one developed with our colleagues from the RV Bund from Germany, and the other with our partners at DVSV from Austria. It will then present the 3rd and final flow detailing the exchange of the European health insurance card, the credentials, and sharing these important findings from that pilot. So after the demonstration, we will host the Q&A session. Now I leave the floor to Elia.
Thank you, Federico. So that's the plan. Federico just gave you an overview. One important thing to stress that my colleagues and everyone has been stressing during this event is interoperability. This was one of our main pillars for social security, as well for the others the other domain that you saw here. We are going to present 3 different use cases, and to stress on interoperability, I just wanted to highlight that actually these were carried out with 4 different wallet providers. This was just to, we had a limited number of use cases to present to you, but all different wallet providers would have served the purpose. And 4 different countries represented by the different organizations that you will see. In the first use case, specifically, you will have DRV Band and ZUS, so Germany and Poland. And we will simulate, a real-world scenario of a German stage hand who travels to Poland. We have used 2 different wallets. 2 different wallets that have been used, which are the wallet ID as a verifier and NASC as issuer, and of course the EBSI infrastructure. I will just leave you to the demo now before diving into the next one. Thank you.
For the EBSI-VECTOR pilot, NASC developed an online application enabling users to issue and verify European health insurance card credentials. After logging in, the portal requests the users did to link credentials directly to that individual. Once the DID is provided, the NASC issuing service generates a credential offer displayed as a QR code. The user then scans the QR code with their wallet. The wallet presents the credential offer, allowing the user to review all details before saving it, ensuring full transparency and control. Now, the EHIC credential is successfully stored in the wallet and can be used. As a potential verifier, the doctor can now use our verifier service to request a user's EHIC credential. Therefore, the verifier specifies the presentation request, which includes the credential type and format. Now, the verifier receives the presentation request from the verifier service in the OpenID for verifiable presentation format. This one can be provided to the user directly or as a QR code. Now, the user scans the QR code with its wallet. The wallet then displays all credentials matching the requested type and asks him to select the right one. In our case, that's 2 credentials. The user picks the second one. It's the right EHIC credential for him. With one tap on Share, he sends it off. Now, let's jump back to our verifier. Each presentation session has a unique session ID, allowing the verifier to match a specific request with the corresponding response from the user's wallet. Having a look on the response, it first shows us the initial presentation request, the request for a EHIC credential. Here, we find the verifiable presentation from the user's wallet. Here the verifier can access the full credential and gets displayed all data shared by the user, which is in our case the full EHIC credential, also including the Social Security PIN, but also name and first name of the user. The verifier can also see the competent institution, in our case NFZ from Poland. And last but not least, the credential also comes with revocation information.
Thank you. That was the first one. Just wanted to spend very few words on it because you saw a lot of tech tech content here. So maybe for business people that would be a little bit overwhelming. But just know that this was done in order to give you a hands-on view of what's behind. But all these pilots are at pre-production pilots. So all these institutions are actually ready, and this is one of our objective that we wanted to convey to you today. Hopefully these videos give you a hint of it, but of course with this limited time it's difficult to convey all the messages. So just wanted to make sure that these actually can see you. Yeah, second one, thank you. This again has Poland and Austria as the two participating countries, and uses two different wallets, Isertis and NASK. This, of course, again, using the EBSI infrastructure, and again, it simulates a real world scenario. Please, Federico, go ahead with the video, then we can have some comments on it. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I have set up everything. Okay, so I go to the screenshot of your page and I scan the QR code.
Okay, maybe this needs a little bit of voiceover as well. Here is the issuing
and now I
section,
go to the verifier page,
where we are obtaining the PDA1 credential.
But better QR code here. So I scan it. And I present. Yeah, so this one is fine, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, great. Then.
Okay, it was very quick. It was very quick. I think that we can comment on it at the end. Please, if you have questions on the specific use case, or if you have questions that even go beyond the simulation that we have been doing, because I think that the most important part is actually the involvement of all these institutions and the different wallet providers that I remember to you are actually using the reference implementation, which is also something important for you to remember. I'll dive into the last one, which sees as participating countries Italy and Poland. And has issued Zeus and FZ from Poland and has a verifier email. It uses again NASK and Isertis wallets, both from the holder and the enterprise wallet point of view. Let's see the video, please.
The same thing I can do on the. So I start with issuing EHIC credential. I log into the NFZ portal, National Health Fund portal. I start with logging in to the portal. Then I scan the code just to pass the DID identifier. And then there is an EHIC credential prepared for me, and I can issue it. then there is a QR code generated. I can scan it with my holder wallet. I choose the EHIC credential, and then I get it on my holder wallet. With this holder credential in my holder wallet, I can go on to the verifier page and pass the credential to the verifier. I scan the QR code. I choose the right one from my wallet, and credential is presented. The same thing I can do on the on the NASC verifier portal. I can prepare a QR code for verification. I can pass this credential to the portal. I choose the right one, the right credential to be passed, and I can see that it was shared successfully. Then I can revoke it from the National Health Fund side. I can revoke it from this panel. I have to confirm it. And now, when I go to this verifying page, after passing this credential, again, I will see that this credential wasn't accepted because it has been revoked. And on the email side, when I scan the verification code, after passing the credential that I want from my holder wallet, I see that there is an error that this credential was revoked. And now I can also issue another credential, but maybe this time not to the Registries wallet, but to the iGrant data wallet. Again, I pass the DID of the wallet, and I issue credential, an EHIC credential. Here I can see all the info, and I have it on my wallet. Then I can verify it with this.
Yeah, okay. Federico, please give it a pause. I mean, I think that the concept is the message is being conveyed. Two things, some things to be highlighted here. So you have seen two different flows that use different wallets, different products, but same technology stack. Okay, the same can be replicated with numerous products that use the same tech stack and that reference to the same standards and infrastructure that's EBSI. Another important thing that you saw and that maybe it was not clear, so I wanted to highlight, is that the portal that you see, for example, on Enel side is something that is on a pilot environment, something that is ready to scale after these pilot implementations. Is something that uses the Icertis backend, but could have used other enterprise wallets, and is interoperable with different products. You saw both the NASC verifier, you saw the iGrant holder wallet, you saw again the Icertis holder wallet. So many products, same result. You also saw in this demo the revocation, which wasn't part of previous previous demos. So this is something important as well. And yeah, that's it. Before the conclusions, I saw one hand raised. Maybe I'll just take that very quickly before going to the conclusions. No, wasn't me. Okay, sorry, no hands raised.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I
okay,
was
sorry.
more or less attending this and didn't see one.
Okay, sorry.
Continue, please continue, Elia.
Maybe just the sound. Yeah, that's that was it. I mean, just wanted to give a brief conclusion of it. So what we have reached, we have concluded that basically we have a strong let's say affirmation of both viability and readiness of the digital identity system that we have been using and that has been building throughout these years, right? Why do we say that? This is this adaptability, this readiness has been proven through different models across different contexts, both at technological level and at national levels. So again, we had Poland, Italy, Germany, Austria, which all have been demonstrating effective interoperability and collaboration. Really wanted to highlight collaboration because I really wanted to thank all these institutions and their representatives who have been very collaborative during these pilots, and you know, this really gives us a view of how important it is for all of these institutions to innovate and use this new paradigm for digital identity. I mean, new is not even that new, but you got that. So again, thank you all. I will take the questions if any. Otherwise, I'll leave the floor to you, David.
Okay, Elia, Federico, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, no questions. Again, no questions. I'm sad for this. No, I know. I mean, when we get into this detail, into these use cases, I suppose things get quite technical, and maybe the type of questions that can arise come from other kind of profiles of the people that are attending the meeting, or really need another kind of encounter, which is not an event like this. But I mean, in that case, you know that, I mean, this is only the final event for EBSI-VECTOR, but I mean, EBSI-VECTOR and EBSI-VECTOR people, we are quite accessible, okay? So don't hesitate, no matter if it's during this event, after, or in the weeks or months, to come to try to contact any one of the people you know that has worked on the project or in the different use cases, because for sure there's a lot of information and knowledge and experience to exchange when trying to do the uptake and the development over the available resources in order to produce real implementation cases as the ones that we are depicting. Okay, now, well, there are no questions, but at the same time, I could have one question for you regarding your interest on being furtherly involved in cases regarding social security. Okay, so for that, again, I am just sharing the screen, the QR code for the simple question. It's basically the same question for the people that responded the previous question on the education use case. It's the same question, but for the social security. So please, if you are so kind and you have the time, you can scan the QR code, or you can click on the link that I just provided on the chat. Okay? Any feedback? even if it's as short as responding one single question in a completely anonymous way, you have to believe me that it really serves not only EBSI-VECTOR, but this kind of project when trying to give the necessary steps in the next future. Because again, one thing I would like to highlight, and it is going never to be enough. Nowadays, I mean, cases like the ones. No, I'm stopping because there's one comment on the chat. Okay, Pietro Marconi or Marcioni, pardon, sorry, was commenting, as Elia highlighted, we reached a great interoperability level. Easy integration with EBSI that will speed up today's and future integration with EBSI European infrastructure. Now, different wallets, verifiers, issuers can work smoothly with no friction for the citizen. That's a very good message to highlight, because as well as I said before, this is more on the evangelization side, okay, that on the technical side. EBSI-VECTOR is the living proof that from a technical point of view, and at the same time from the point of view of involving all the usual suspects that you can identify when dealing, for example, with education, with business registries, or with social security, okay, that technically speaking, this can be done in an interoperable way, okay? It really can be done. So it's a matter of all of us. I mean, and when I say all of us, I say not only EBSI-VECTOR participants, but the people that are involved as, imagine, potential final users, even potential final users are the ones that have to try to provide the next step, even if it's only by requiring this kind of implementations, this kind of potential services, requiring an ecosystem that can lead to verifiable credentials being something which is perceived more than, I mean, something emerging, but something more mature, okay? So again, I have gone into this kind of discourses because, well, we are more or less quite good on time, but it doesn't mean we don't have to continue with the agenda. Okay, so I'm going to continue, because now what we have on the menu is an interoperability case. Okay, some kind of crossover case between education and social security, which basically is bringing into the same box different credentials coming from education and coming from social security. Okay, so for this, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm giving the floor to Camila Loqueta from INAIL, and again to Antonio Gonzalez from iCertis. Okay.
Yes,
So
thank you.
I'm going. Yeah, you're sharing your screen, Camila. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Antonio is sharing his screen, and I will perform a quick introduction for the crossover use case developed as part of the EBSI-VECTOR project. Please, Antonio, if you can go to the next slide. Thank you. As you can see on the slide, scenario represents a collaboration between Work Package 4, focus on education, and Work Package 5, which addresses social security. And the idea behind the crossover was to tackle the challenge of interoperability, not only between wallet providers, but also between different types of credentials and institutions from different countries. So here we have defined three key goals for the use case. As anticipated, the first is to test the interoperability between different wallet providers. The second is to demonstrate a real-life scenario involving different types of verifiable credentials. And the third is to ensure a cross-border institutional participation, which is essential for any future European-wide implementations. In the next slide, you can see a visual representation of the flow. Of the use case. The use case simulates an Erasmus student enrollment process where a Slovenian student wants to register at a German university. And to do so, she has to present her European diploma credentials, so the EDC, that was issued by her home university in Slovenia, and the European health insurance card, so her HEIC document, that was issued by the Austrian Social Security Institution. Using her holder wallet, she has to combine the credentials and submit them both to the host German university. Finally, the registration gets approved and she is allowed to join the Erasmus program, demonstrating a seamless cross-border mobility using digital credentials. Moving forward, we wanted to highlight the main actors that participated in this, in the definition of this crossover use case. The first being the University of Maribor in Slovenia, that has issued the diploma via the EDU-CTX wallet. The second being the fictitious TÜDS University, Technical University for Decentralized Science in Germany, that acts as the receiving institution and was performed by Helmut, enacted by Helmut from GovPart. And the last being the social institution DVSB from Austria that has issued the health insurance credentials, so the EIC, via Identify, which is the Icertis enterprise wallet. So just wanted to give a heads up, and many thanks to anyone who helped us achieve this goal by putting in place the use case. And now I can leave the floor to Antonio that will present you the demonstration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Camila. We will now see a live demo of this user journey. Okay, so let me 1 second. So here on your right, you are seeing my mobile phone. You are seeing the Identify holder wallet. And what I'm going to do first, like we saw on the scenario, we need two verifiable credentials, one the EDC and one the EHIC. So first, I will start receiving the European digital credential in my holder wallet. So to do this, I have already received 2 emails from the University of Maribor. One is the credential, the QR code with the credential, and the other is the PIN that I will need to receive this credential. So I will start scanning the QR code. And now I am asked to enter the PIN. Okay, give me 1 second. 381823. Okay, so now I can choose the credential, in this case, the European digital credential, and I can request it to receive it in my holder wallet. And now, as you can see, I have the European digital credential in my holder wallet. Now, what I need to do is to receive the EHIC. And for this, I will scan the QR code offered by the DVSV. Let's see if okay. The credential, I have obtained also this credential. As you can see, I have both credentials, the EHIC and the European digital credential. Okay, so now we have everything that the student needs to complete this scenario. So now we will go into the fictitious Technical University for Decentralized Science, TÜDS. Okay, and this represents the destination university for the student where he wants to do his Erasmus. Okay, so he will be presented with the verification where he can present his credential. So all he needs to do is to scan this QR code. Okay, and as you can see, the holder wallet requests permission to share the credentials. And once I have selected these credentials, okay, I can present them to the TÜDS University. And as you can see, this has worked. And we have received, the TÜDS University has received both credentials. It has been able to verify said credentials. And here you can see the contents of the verifiable credentials. The first one is the European digital credential with all the information that the student has given the university. Okay. And last, the EHIC. Okay, this is a process that can be done machine to machine, so you don't need humans to do the verification. And this is a process that you know that, for example, with Erasmus, it takes a lot of time. As you can see right now, this is something that you can do very, very quickly, this whole process, and very effortless for both the student and the universities. Okay, so now I will resume the presentation for the conclusions and of this scenario. 1 second. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. So the crossover produced very positive and promising results. The interoperability was successfully demonstrated across 3 different wallet implementations: EduCTX, the reference implementation and identify, proving that EBSI-compliant wallets can function seamlessly together in a live use case. Okay. The real life scenario of Erasmus enrollment showed that credentials from distinct domains, in this case the education and the healthcare, can coexist and be presented together to fulfill a single process, in this case the enrollment. And we had institutions in both from Slovenia, Austria, and Germany showing a strong collaboration and adaptability in applying decentralized identity standards. We can say that this shows that the ecosystem is maturing, and it could be ready for a broader rollout in the near future. And finally, and perhaps the most importantly, that the student was able to register successfully at the German university using only digital credentials, being this process frictionless, paperless, and with a high level of trusted interaction between all the different parts. And as a brief conclusion, this crossover, I think that it was not only a technical test, but it was a real validation of the EBSI ecosystem potential to improve, in this case, citizen mobility, reduce administrative burden, and to enable trust at the European level. So thank you very much for your time. And now we have the question and answers. So David, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Camila. Thank you very much, Antonio. Yeah, I'm so proud to announce that we have one question, okay? We have one. Well, really, we have 2 questions, okay? Because, well, there's a question coming from Ricardo before this last session on, has EBSI-VECTOR looked into how it's going to connect with national legacy systems? Well, the cost to continue, but Christian, who is going to act just in the next case, has said that they have considered the question in the case for business registries. But for the question for this session is, how can EDC credentials be received in holder wallets? I was under the impression they are exclusively stored on the Europass platform wallets. Antonio, Camila, I don't know if you had time to go through the question while I was reading it. Maybe you can provide some answer.
But I don't know where that let's say limitation of the EDC credential is. I'm not sure where you read that, but the EDC credential in this case, it's a schema that has been registered inside EBSI, inside the EBSI registry. And as such, we can use that schema, the universities can use that schema to both issue and to verify it. So that's what we did. We constructed, the University of Maribor constructed a verifiable credential using the EDC schema, and then send it to the student using the OpenID for BC protocol.
Okay.
So maybe if we know a little bit more, where did you read that? Maybe we can answer.
Yeah, Katerina, I don't know if we have time to go further into the question, but did the answer more or less satisfy your question? You can say yes or make like this or whatever. Yeah, she's saying the accreditation was not issued by EDC issued. Thank you. So it's clear now. Okay, thank you very much, Katerina. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the question, because I'm quite surprised, but we are going quite well on the agenda. But I don't know if there are. Thank you, Katerina. I don't know if there are some more questions related to the specific interoperability case, because I mean we are people that you can. I mean we are open to conversations to further contacts in the future. Okay, so if you don't feel now right in the best mood for making questions, we understand and we can proceed with the event. Okay, because we are focusing now on the there's no question for this. Okay, there's no interest in further action. In this case, there's no question, but we can go then to the last case on business registries. Okay, for this we are going to count with Christian Klugo. He's member of the management board of Idunion, and he has extensive experience on advancing trusted digital infrastructures. I would say, and he has had he has, in fact, still nowadays he has a very prominent role on this use case. Okay, so that's why he's going to tell about it. Okay, thank you very much. Hi, Christian. Are you there? Yeah, I have seen you have just shared your screen, so the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to show you today what we have worked on in the last, let's say, 1.5 years while we were piloting business registries in EBSI-VECTOR. As David said, my name is Christian Klugo. I work for ID Union, a neutral cooperative, also operating a decentralized ledger for identity use cases. And we have put quite some effort into the conceptualization and piloting of business registries in recent year. So I'm happy to show you where we at and where we still want to go. So my presentation is divided into 3 parts, starting with a short introduction, showing you the playing field we are on and the purpose why we're actually doing what we do. Then, as all the others, we also present some demos of the work we have done in EBSI-VECTOR, and I will end with a short conclusion of 5 minutes in the very end. Probably most of you have seen such fully automated assembly lines. This can be, used to manufacture microchips or also cars. Yeah, you have fully automated assembly lines where you just put in the raw materials and then machines do the rest and end up with a finished product. Very efficient. 100 or 150 years ago, these machines were still humans, which are now able to do other things. Problem here, this is all located in one single company, and this efficiency can only be conducted in one single company. When we go, when we enlarge our scope and introduce other companies, we always have this legal issue that machines from one company or need to interact with machines from other company, and things are not as working as easy as it's seen on this picture. And we actually envision a world in which, across Europe, when in some country there's demand increasing, in another country the production facility automatically knows that it should produce more of the goods that is needed, leading to a kind of fully automated economy in some decades that are still ahead of us. And here in EBSI-VECTOR, we're working on the very first step. This is probably a typical advanced way of signing a contract nowadays. You sign a PDF, and then 2 organizations enter an agreement and actually start cooperating with each other and move forward to produce some good or some software. And what we need is actually the next evolutionary step, yeah, to make this signature and making this agreement available whenever needed. So we transfer this into code. Machine readable, that this confirmation, this liability that comes along with this is accessible for other companies, for machines, but also for humans whenever needed. And while these are pure information, yeah, they need to be secured somehow. They should not be manipulated. And therefore, we need digital identities that confirm the validity of this information here. So this is kind of the why we are doing this, and the next evolutionary step in our journey towards digital identities in Europe. Coming now to EBSI-VECTOR, what did we do? Our task was to pilot business registries the very first time. It's still in experimental mode, using the technology around verifiable credentials and identity wallets for this use case as well, and putting it into the scope and the sphere of the industry across Europe. And here it comes, the introduction of the legal person identity. We spoke a lot about natural person identities. We know that when we look on our IDs and our passports, but we now, in our context, we also look at the identity of legal person companies and enterprises. So we broke down, we gave us some goals in the EBSI-VECTOR context, combining this concept of a legal person identity with the EBSI technology and all the features that EBSI provides. This is one, we want to make EBSI and EBSI's wallet providers ready to get integrated by European business registries. I will tell you why in a second. Second, we want to enable these business registries to build their own trust infrastructure using EBSI and issue these digital identities for legal persons across Europe. Furthermore, we want to facilitate the verification process. This refers to the comment of, or the question of Ricardo 5 minutes ago, when we want to actually keep the existing systems, legacy systems stable and integrate this technology to these systems. And last but not least, we don't only want to have these digital identities, but we also want to link them to other information and increase the value of these informations. What does this mean? Well, in fact, with the verifiable credentials that we design, we could call this organizational digital identity. In other contexts, it's called also legal person identification data, or different terms are used. But with this organizational digital identity, or ODI, we want to actually foster trust among international business relationships in Europe by delivering a proof of incorporation. This legal entity that is approaching you remotely and digitally truly exists, and it's not a spam. Therefore, we want to actually increase the quality of online data identifications, making it clearly differentiable to differentiate a good and reliable company from a bad one who is approaching you with the goal of conducting harm. Secondly, we want to build a scalable system. So online identifications of legal entities should be a matter of seconds instead of a matter of days. And last but not least, we want to have, or we envision a broad system in which we connect this digital certificate, the organizational digital identity, to other trusted information, whatever is needed in the specific context. So how does this look on one page? Yeah, let's say we have all the different legal entities in Europe. They need, or we need all the European business registries in the European member states as well, who provide these digital identities to the legal entities in Europe. And we want to make use of the EBSI trust model to enable these business registries to do so. Which technology is used? Of course, as you have seen in the other presentations, it's identity wallets for legal entities and for personal, or for natural person and for legal person. These wallets need to get their information from the European business registries, who are then issue the credentials, the ODI, into the identity wallets. And last but not least, it's not enough if we put them in the wallet, they need to be verified. And they need to be verified efficiently with existing IT systems, with existing tools, and with legacy systems that are already out there and that you use all day long. This is how the concept looks like. And I assume most of you have not heard about the EBSI trust model before. So therefore, I invite you to this more technical feature, but it's like a unique selling point that EBSI comes along in this digital identity community in Europe, and that hasn't been, let's say, talked about a lot, but it needs to be highlighted in order to understand it. When we talk about the EBSI trust model, we know there's always someone that we call root trusted accreditation organization who opens a trust environment. You can have one-for-one trust environment. For 10, you can also open 10 trust environments. Then you need 10 root TAOs. This root TAO can pass on or invite other sub-TAOs, sub-trusted accreditation organizations, to enlarge their trusted environments and invite, let's say, a lot, like hundreds, thousands of trusted issuer, allowing them to issue a certain credential that is being scoped beforehand. That's the idea. And now there are two ways of setting up this trust environment. We could either think of a pan-European trust environment for legal entities, when the European Commission invites all the business registries to issue these organizational digital identities to the legal entities that are registered in the business registries. Or we can also use another trust model where each business registry in Europe opens up their own trust environment. Both lead actually to the same result, and that's a matter how it can be designed in both ways. This is how we did it in our pilot. We simulated this process by putting the ID Union as European cooperative and neutral organization in the position of the root TAO. And we invited one of our pilot participants, Goldman Solutions and Services from Cyprus, to act like the Cyprus business registry. And then we invited 14 legal entities in Europe to participate in our piloting activities. And all of them received an organizational digital identity from us, and all of them issued a power of attorney to their employees. This is an overview of the participants. These are the countries that were involved: Cyprus, Finland, Lithuania, Poland, Sweden, Slovakia, and Slovenia. We had two identity providers, one ID Union confirming the legal entity identity, and Goldman, as mentioned before. We invited 4 wallet providers to set up their wallet infrastructure and their wallets according to our use cases, and we made them to be interoperable with each other. And we have also, we had a verification service solution provider on board named Vidos, who was fully focusing on the verification process and provided an API that can be integrated in these legacy systems. So this was our setup. What else is important to mention before we come to the demos? When we talk about, or when we address enterprises and legal entities with wallets, we assume that they need a much larger functionality. For example, they need, in contrast to personal wallets, they need issuer capabilities. We want them to issue other trusted information connected to their identity. This is not necessarily needed for personal wallet. So while personal wallet should be designed, let's say, as easy as possible and as close that it comes to your physical wallet that you have in today in your pocket. When we think of enterprise wallet, we actually see a large, rather complicated piece of software that should have a lot of integrations and interfaces to systems and well-educated people to manage that. That's why we differentiate here. How does the onboarding process work? Well, we have the director proving its personal identity to the business registry or an identity provider. If that's successful gone through, the business registry then issues the digital organizational identity in the enterprise wallet. And based on that, the power of attorney can be connected to the ODI or digital organizational identity and being issued to the personal wallet. That's the concept. And these were the steps that we needed to go through in our pilot scenario. First, we needed to onboard the director and an employee to the wallets that we have designed for our purposes. Then they needed to obtain the ODI and issue the power of attorney. And then we made some interactive scenario, or went through some interactive scenario with them, that we let them verify their ODI to each other. We let them verify their power of attorney with each other, like kind of simulating an authorization process and getting access to something. And then in the last round, we simulated a process in which, let's say, something went wrong. You could imagine an insolvency of the legal entity or some other kind of event that leads to the fact that the organizational digital identity needs to be revoked. And then we simulated the verification of the power of attorney again, triggering a failure of this process, and thereby proving the security of the system. This is what we have done between November last year and March this year. And I will show you how our demos look like. For this meeting today, I scoped it that we can see, or we can watch these 5 processes here that I wrapped around with this dotted squares. And let me start with the issuing process of the legal entity identity. We used a company, or as an illustration, Blue Minds from Slovakia here, and we simulate the registration process. So we asked the company and the director of Blue Minds to present his company certificate. We authorize the company, so conducting a KYC or a know your supplier a process, assuring that this is truly the company who claims for the digital identity, and we are then ready to issue it. So how does this look like? This is the wallet we set up for this purpose. It still lacks some user experience, but let me introduce you quickly to what you see here on the screen. You basically have the name of the business registry, or here the ID union. In that case, you have some information data closely connected to the ID union SC, like the DID, for example. You have some information on who is this company. In this case, it's the root TAO, and using the EBSI pilot network. And below here, you see held credentials belonging to this company, which is in this case none. And on the other hand, a list of already issued credentials. So when we want to issue a new credential now for Blue Minds from Slovakia, we actually move up to the issuer template and can select what kind of credential we want to issue. We clicked on ODI and now actually name or put in the information of Blue Minds In future, this can be drawn directly from the business registry so that no manual input is necessary. We set a validity date. Still needs to be defined on how long such an ODI should be valid. In this case, we just put it on the end of the year 2025. And we create this credential and an offer. What do we need now? We now need the DID of the subject of Blue Minds. They need to be set up and get onboarded to an identity wallet and need to you need to send their DID over to us so that we can wrap it into the legal entity identity. This has been done here. We create the credential, have a QR code again, and now this can be transmitted to Blue Minds. And how this looks like from the other side, I'll show you in a second. Here we go. This is the Blue Minds side. Now looking from, let's say, from a screen to the ID Union wallet. And you see basically a repetition of what you have just seen. Here the offer is created and Blue Minds clicks on the button for the QR code or can also scan it. Copy pasting this link, so it needs actually to just a link. So here we are now in the Triveria wallet, but now the wallet of Blue Minds. Yeah, we now see here a lot more credentials that have been held for testing purposes, and now this new credential needs to be accepted. So we enter the link that we just got, and Blue Minds now obtains the new organizational identity, digital identity from ID Union as it has been issued before. Now it's actually held inside the wallet of Blue Minds. Next step. Now Blue Minds wants to issue a power of attorney. We have this legal entity, verifiable credentials and ODI in the wallet using Triveria. And now Triveria, now Blue Minds connects the power of attorney with that ODI. But just for this can be done with the legal person, legal entity representatives, but with all kinds of other information as well, such as a product or an asset, yeah, or a contractual agreement or any kind of data that you can imagine that can be wrapped up in a verifiable credential. Everything can be connected to the legal person identity. What's the value about it? Well, Blue Minds, once this is done, can digitally authorize representatives to act in the name of the company, no matter where they are in Europe, and they can manage it, meaning the valid authorization can be revoked remotely and very, very efficiently. So how does this look like? Yeah, again, using the interface of Triveria, we now see the Blue Minds, the Blue Minds wallet, and going to the power of attorney issuer template, in which we enter the information of a representative of Blue Minds. In this case, what is this for? This person is now authorized to drive company vehicles, but it can be any other type of authorization. We put in their name, and again the same process now, but now Blue Minds is actually the issuer, issuing here the power of attorney. On the left, the legal person representative is now scanning the QR code. And in a second, having the power of attorney to drive company vehicles inside the wallet of the company representative. Yeah. Next thing, yeah. Now we want to make use of this, yeah. And while we now have equipped the legal entity representative with this legal identity, we want to approach any point of verification somewhere, yeah. And this point of verification needs to talk or needs to verify the information that are presented here with the EBSI trust model. What happens if that's done successfully? Verifiers can use their existing system to verify information that are linked to the digital identity. And specifically, verifiers can also rely on that confirmation that a person has a valid representative or is a valid representative of a certain legal entity. And it's not very spectacular how that looks like, because it's again scanning a QR code and receiving a green check mark. Here, a little bit more sophisticated, looking at the VDOS backend system, in which they basically set up a certain scheme, how to verify that. It's here the load exam power of attorney. Yeah, they need to know what they want to verify. Show the QR code. This QR code is scanned by the employee or by the representative you see here on the right. And what's happening here is important, like just the authorization status, which must change from pending to authorized. Here you can have more details, but the most important thing is actually that it changes to authorized, and then your systems do whatever you allowed them to do. Next, we want to revoke it because some event happened, like a shutdown of the legal entity, or a lawsuit, or maybe even an address change. Yeah, so still needs to be decided further on what kind of events trigger such a revocation. So the business registry would actually decide to revoke the ODI credential and update the revocation list. When then the verification process is conducted by VDOS in this case, it sends a request not only to the EBSI trust model, but also to the revocation list. What kind of value does this bring across? So actually verifiers can rely that this linked information is valid upon, so that they can actually rely instantly when they verify it, that it's either valid or not. While meaning they know instantly when the business registry revoked the ODI and can take action based on this information whenever whatever they feel is appropriate. So how does this look like? Yeah, basically very simple. The business registry just triggers the revocation with the simple click on a button of revoke. And once this is done, the credential is made invalid. Now, repeating just the process of VDOS on the other side. Again, the credential is being verified. QR code is shown. The company representative scans it, presenting his ID, and pending changes to rejected. Yeah, this is what we want. And if you're now curious, what's the reason for the rejection, you can find it in the details that the power of attorney has been, or that the ODI has been revoked. This is exactly the process we want. And this was actually proof that our, let's say our processes that we designed work by using the EBSI technology. What's our conclusion after this, let's say, 1.5 year of work? Well, we actually achieved a proof of concept, and we learned that we need closer collaboration with business registries and more tests. You have seen now that the processes work in practice, but we need some legal confirmation that we can truly set them in place and in a production environment. We want more wallets to be included. We have this challenge of interoperabilities, like plenty of wallets need to speak with each other, sending messages to each other that need to be also understood. We need to work on these frequent changes on, let's say, standardization initiatives led to the fact that we had to repeat a lot of processes and continuously adjust during our pilot scenario. Moreover, we proved that the EBSI trust model can be used. Well, knowing the landscape of digital identities in Europe quite well, I can say that the EBSI trust model, or the trust model that EBSI provides, is actually the best one that should be adapted. It brings in not only the trust model, but also the immutability and the distribution of data by design. You could set up this on your own, but EBSI has it and is ready for adoption. If I would, I still see a lack of the perceived value of this trust model. So I think EBSI should invest in some communication initiatives that this trust model is also, or the value of the trust model is also perceived by the broader community in Europe and also by use case holders. We learned that the integration to verification services or to to existing IT systems can be used. VDOS is one option. Other options can be used as well. In the end, wallets could actually do this on their own. Yeah, but it's in fact we should not stop when we develop identity wallets with the verifiable credential inside it, but we should, as Ricardo also mentioned before, think one step ahead and get an integration to existing systems. Last but not least, linking information to the digital identity has also been successfully showcased. Also here, we need a legal assessment confirming the processes that we designed. And also here, I think nowadays in most of the heads, it's data is value, yeah, but I would even say valid data is value, yeah. And with this technology, we are able to differentiate valid and confirmed to non-valid and non-confirmed data. So we can keep our data quality up for our use cases and maybe for our whole economy. This brings me to an end. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Christian. Really, thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen again, okay? Because yes, there has been one question, okay? I took the opportunity just to tell you that I have just posted another question on the chat. It's regarding your further interest in this registries, business registries case. Okay, so this is the QR corresponding to that. So, this one question, wait, a legal entity will then be a trusted issue, so recognized to be issued to holders within the legal entity. This was made by Nicholas Howe. He says that his question, oops, important update here.
Yeah,
are you reading it, Christian, on the chat?
Well, it says my question has been answered. Is this referring to Q1 or the other questions here in the chat?
I think it's for Q1 because this last update, okay, that I'm going to paste on the screen right now. Wow, sorry.
Okay. Well, if you like, I can answer Q1 quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Short answer is yes. Yeah, because we don't stop at a legal entity identity. Yeah, it's nice to authenticate each other. Yeah, but what I actually want, I want in the future, many decades ahead, I want machines to do that. And it's not about my identity, but it's actually because of what I do or what I offer. So it's my product or my asset or my agreement that I cited. We always have some context connected to it. And what we envision is actually making all legal entities trusted issuers, yeah, that they can issue whatever they like, whatever fits to their purpose. And it's that information that increases the value of our future data economy.
Yeah, I have just tried to paste quite quickly the rest of the some related questions. Who and when is enterprise wallet provided to a legal entity? The business registry itself. I don't know because this comes from Nicholas at the same time. I don't know if these were the questions that in a way or another were answered during the session, or Nicholas would like to delve into something. But
if you have the time, I can answer that.
Sorry?
If we have the time, I can answer Q2.
Well, we are 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes left, and I have some concluding facts or remarks about the project. But I think it's quite interesting. No, please go on. So, at least just for 2 or 3 minutes. I think we have the time. Yes.
Oh, okay. So then I look on Q2. Who and when is the enterprise wallet provided to the legal entity, the business registry itself? So actually, the European Commission is just introducing a so-called European business wallet. There's going to be a regulation around it. This process just starts, let's say, yeah. And there's a large consortium also assembled starting in September, which works on how answering this question. Actually, I've seen some early prototypes, some promising prototypes, but if you, let's say, want to adopt it as a regular user, yeah, and just buying it as software as you buy other software, I would say you need to wait until 2028. That's my best estimate. If you want to test it right now and get involved into the production and bring in your requirements, and that you also give some efforts into developments, then I would say right now is the best time to enter the sphere.
Okay. So, well, it's 5 minutes only for us. I'm quite glad because more or less we have been quite on time, taking into account the big number of speakers. Okay, so well, yeah, I will go into some concluding remarks, not just before pasting. Give me just some 5 seconds, okay? Pasting on the chat before showing you on the screen the events assessment questionnaire. Okay, it's important for us if you can provide an overall feedback over the complete event. Okay, well, just for these last minutes, it's not really conclusions of the event. It's not really conclusions of the project. I mean, we are closing the project right now, and during May, Jan, and July we'll be really doing the final closure and the final conclusions and over the project. So I would like only this slide was only for trying to reflect into some facts, okay, over the project, because well, I think that more in a way or another I have talked about this before some minutes ago, but I mean EBSI-VECTOR and other projects in the same ecosystem. In the session that was made by Daniel, I think this was very well reflected. EBSI-VECTOR is not a sole project, okay, in the context of EBSI and verifiable credentials. There is a complete ecosystem of projects that are trying to give the required steps in order to make this a real ecosystem and put all of this into real production. Okay, so you have to take into account that this is not, for example, Gattaca or Certis or other wallet providers with their wallet providers and one single customer. This has not acted this way. Okay, this has been more than 50 organizations coming from different sites, from different scopes, mixing wallet providers, organizations coming from education, social security, people working on the public governance level as well. I mean, all of this has been taken into account, the overall, I would say, ecosystem of organizations that need this, that require this, and that can make a market out of this. Okay, so regulatory frameworks have been taken very, very, very seriously. Okay, all of this has been developed with regulatory frameworks into account. As you have seen, use cases, sometimes it involves some kind of simulation, okay? But from the general point of view, they have involved different organizations with real requirements. For example, in the case of, in the use case about education, about 30 universities have been involved and have tested this kind of solutions in the context of EBSI-VECTOR, okay? So it's quite important, not for us, but for the overall context of how EBSI can evolve and the overall environment of verifiable credentials in Europe can advance. It's quite important that not only us, but people like you, the attendees, have in mind that we are not just showing potential, okay? We are showing real applications that need maybe a more solid and standardized ecosystem in order to reach all the potential niches, all the potential gaps that it can reach. Okay, so, well, interoperability, I would like to highlight as well another time, because I think it's a very important topic in here. Quite important, because as I said before, we are the land of the free on the east, okay, when it comes to organizations going to the market and being completely free to select and use any kind of solutions when it comes to implement and develop a ecosystem based on verified credentials, okay? So interoperability is a must. We have worked, EBSI-VECTOR has worked on that, and you have to believe us when we say that we have tested interoperability between different systems and solutions, and this is really being a part of the future ecosystem, okay? So I think that, at least from my side, I have nothing more to say. I think I have talked much more than I was expecting, okay? But if you can, please, you can fill up the questionnaire, the assessment question for the event. Here is the QR. There in the chat is the link. The time is up right now. It's 11:30. I have to thank very much all the speakers, because it's not been one or two people. There have been a lot of people involved. So thank you very much for their time. Thank you very much for the bilateral sessions. And to the rest of you, I really hope this event has served to improve of level of knowledge on the current initiatives, at least from the point of view of EBSI-VECTOR, of the current initiatives that are trying to raise the level when it comes to achieving the final end, is that we have a Europe where we, as individuals or organizations, can exchange information in the most digital, secure, and trustworthy way. Okay, so maybe, I don't know if someone has any more some comments before we close the event, because if not, I think we can put a closure to it now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all of you. Really, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.